Hello class 10th. Let's continue chapter 2 genetics. In previous video I had explained the different terminology used in genetics, right? Now in this video we will discuss about the Mendel's work and monohybrid cross and dehybrid cross, right? Now children, watch this video and try to understand the chapter genetics, right?
This boy resembles his mother in skin color and father in height. Let's see why. All the cells in his father and mother have 46 chromosomes each. During the reproductive process, his father produces a male gamete and his mother produces a female gamete, each with 23 chromosomes. The male gamete fuses with the female gamete to give birth to a child. So, the newborn child receives 23 chromosomes from the father and the other 23 from the mother. Boy receives genes for the characters from both the parents. The boy has received the gene for height from his father and the gene for skin color from his mother. That's why the boy resembles his parents in skin, color and height. But the boy differs from parents in other ways, such as his curly hair and blue eyes, which neither of the parents have. Any characteristic that is transferred from parent to offspring, such as height and color, is known as a trait. As this trait is inherited from the parents, it is known as an inherited trait. This process of passing traits from parent to offspring is called heredity. Offspring are never an exact copy of their parents, as you have seen in this case. There may be some differences. Curly hair and blue eyes of the boy are the differences that are called variations. Gregor Johann Mendel was the pioneer among geneticists who discovered the concept of inheritance of characters or traits from parents to offspring. He proposed the principle of inheritance and is known as the father of genetics. He experimented with pea plants and found variations among them. Later, these variations were found to be genetic variations. Did you know that Mendel was educated in a monastery and studied science and mathematics at the University of Vienna? He wanted to be a teacher, but he failed the teaching examination. However, he did not lose hope. He returned to the monastery and started growing pea plants in the garden. Mendel blended his knowledge of science and mathematics to keep count of the pea plants exhibiting a particular feature in each generation. Mendel researched heredity and arrived at the laws of inheritance. He used a number of pea plants with various traits such as round or wrinkled seeds, tall or short plants, white or violet flowers, and so on. Let's look at some of the most important terms in heredity and variation. The word gene comes first. It is the DNA segment of the chromosome. Genes control the expression of characters. Genes were called factors by Mendel. Each gene is present in two alternative forms called allele. each allele controls single traits. Tallness in a plant is a dominant trait, controlled by a dominant allele, and is represented by the uppercase T. Shortness in a plant is a recessive trait, controlled by a recessive allele, and is represented by the lowercase t. These alleles combine to make a genotype such as uppercase TT or uppercase T and lowercase t or lowercase tt. Uppercase TT and lowercase tt are homozygous, and uppercase T and lowercase t is referred to as heterozygous.
What is heterozygous? An individual or a plant in which two factors or genes or alleles controlling one character are dissimilar. Means they are contrasting. That is your capital T and small t. Right? That is, it is called what? Heterozygous. In this video, this uppercase T means capital T for dominant character, right? That is tall character. And lowercase t means small t for dwarf character or recessive character.
Well, let me explain this through Mendel's experiment, in which inheritance of only one character, for instance the height of the pea plant, is considered. Such inheritance pattern is referred to as monohybrid inheritance. The Punnett square shows a cross between parental tall uppercase TT and dwarf lowercase tt plants. The gametes produced by them are T and T, and the F1 generation has all uppercase T and lowercase t progeny. In first generation or F1 progeny, all of the plants were tall. This means that only one of the parental traits were visible. The trait which is visible in F1 generation is called the dominant trait, and one which remains suppressed is known as the recessive trait. Here, tallness is the dominant trait and shortness is the recessive trait.
Were all the tall plants in the F1 generation exactly as tall as the plants of the parent generation?
Yes, they were all as tall as the parent generation. Next, Mendel allowed the F1 tall plant of the genotype uppercase T and lowercase t to reproduce by self-pollination. As a result of random fertilization, the resultant zygotes can be of the genotypes uppercase TT or uppercase T and lowercase t or lowercase tt. Interestingly enough, the second generation or F2 progeny were not all tall. Instead, 1/4 of them were short. This indicates that both the tallness and shortness traits were inherited in the F2 plants. Now, let's see the entire experiment in the form of genotypic and phenotypic representation. From the Punnett square, it is seen that random fertilizations result in 1/4 uppercase TT, half uppercase T and lowercase t, and 1/4 lowercase tt. This gave the genotypic ratio of 1:2:1. 1 pure tall plant, 2 hybrid tall plants, and 1 dwarf plant. Thus, 75% of the progeny produced in F2 generation were tall and 25% were dwarf. This gave the phenotypic ratio of 3:1.
What happens when P plants of two different characteristics are bred with each other?
That's an interesting question. Let's consider a hypothetical situation. We cross a plant producing round and yellow seeds, uppercase RR and uppercase YY, with a plant producing wrinkled green seeds, lowercase RR and lowercase YY. The inheritance of two such characters is known as Dehybrid Inheritance. The entire F1 progeny produces round and yellow seeds, uppercase R and lowercase r, and uppercase Y and lowercase y. In such a case, round and yellow seeds would be the dominant traits.
What happens when these plants of the F1 progeny are self-pollinated?
Mendel found that some plants of the F2 progeny were similar to their parents and produced round yellow seeds, and some of them produced wrinkled green seeds. However, some plants of the F2 progeny even showed new combinations like round, green and wrinkled yellow seeds. Therefore, it can be safely concluded that the round or wrinkled trait and the yellow or green colored traits are independently inherited.